Hello and welcome back to another session of Let's Get Technical by EXP-Invest. First off, thanks a lot to ET Now for giving us this platform to go live. Second of all, in today's session, we are talking about swing trading setups in one specific stock, VBL, yani Varun Beverage Limited. Now, this is a favorite company for a lot of swing traders and for very good reasons. This stock gives good directional moves, good swings, wonderful entry exit opportunities, and you can't go wrong with the stock because even if you say miss an exit, you know that this stock is going to go up because it's a very high quality company with very good management and good future prospects, right? With that background, let's now talk about why are we having this session. So, firstly, Let's Get Technical is a once in a week series where I come online and I talk about all things technical analysis with practical application. Okay. The theoretical part of technical analysis I cover on my Tuesday sessions, which is called Retail Trader Special, where I basically do knowledge sharing from, a lot of condensed stuff that I have learned over my 12 years of practice. And the Thursday session, which is the Let's Get Technical, is specifically for applying the same knowledge, but not one by one, all together, because when we are doing trading we have to make sure that we are applying the knowledge in a very holistic manner rather than in silos, right? Now, in this session I'm going to show you what my trading setup looks like and how they apply to specifically the price action in the stock VBL, because let's understand, every stock has a different way of movement, just like every human being has different personality. However, that being said, just the way human behavior can be predicted in similar situations, price action can also be predicted under similar indications given by indicators. Okay, with that in mind, let's move towards the charts and begin the session. Okay, so this is my trading terminal, or rather my chart layout, and as you can see, I'm gonna full screen this. Okay, my bad. Okay, as you can see, there are 6 windows in this. The 6 windows, each and every layout pertains to one time frame, and it really helps in improving the quality of analysis when you don't change the time frame within each layout. You need to have arrangement. The arrangement is very necessary to build the habit in analysis. See, when you're analyzing, you're looking at 10,000 different things. You need to train not just your hands, but your eyes. You need to create that intuitive muscle responses to your own system. And you cannot do that until and unless you have a structure. Okay, so this is my structure, starting from the 3-minute time frame to have an idea of the very short-term movements. So 15-minute, 75-minute, daily, weekly, and monthly. Okay, each time frame plays a separate role. Let's talk about that first. So my main decision-making time frame is the 75-minute time frame. The decisions which are to be made on 75-minute time frame, they have to be backed by the 15-minute and the daily time frame. The weekly time frame, that is this and this, the monthly time frame. The weekly and the monthly time frame are used primarily for one purpose, that is determining the broad underlying trend. Because remember, you will not win in chart analysis if you are analyzing the stocks against that trend, or if you're playing the stocks against that trend. So first off, if you want to win, always play in the direction of the primary underlying trend, and then look for the phenomena of eclipsing between these different time frames, the same trend in the different time frames. Okay, so let's start with the monthly time frame of VBL and let's see what is happening, and then we'll go time lower and lower. Okay, so to begin any chart analysis, I always start with the monthly time frame or the weekly time frame. Okay, in this situation, as you can see, the monthly time frame is not very useful to us, so we will go down to one time frame lower, that is the weekly time frame. The weekly time frame gives us a better indication of the analysis. So let me remove these trend lines so that we can draw them together and understand how I proceed analyzing a stock when it is new for me. Okay, so first of all, trend lines. The purpose lies in the name itself. We should the only purpose of drawing trend lines is to determine which direction the price is going in. Here we can clearly see that the direction is phenomenally up in the stock. Okay, so how we are going to draw a trend line is we are going to join the peaks. Okay, so we are going to join the first trend line, which I like to call the maiden trend line, and then we are going to start cloning it. The big advantage of doing this is that we get a sense of the real direction of the price. Right now, the trend line that I have drawn is relatively flatter, and clearly it does not sit well with the overall trend. Why is that happening? Because I have taken one price here from the wick and the other also from the wick. See, different stocks, this rule applies differently. There is a very strong ongoing debate whether in every situation you should draw your trend lines from the wick or you should draw your trend lines from the closing. I think you should do it differently for different stocks, because in different stocks, the response to the wick price is different. In case of VBL, from what we just saw, it is better to draw from the closing. So I will take the closing, the highest closing that I have, that is this point on the weekly time frame, and the another one from the closing of the other high point that I can see. Now, after making this little change, what I'm seeing is that there are more points of interaction with the trend line. Okay, either very close interactions or very exact interactions. Here again, we can see that the breakout happened here. There was an attempt here and a breakout ultimately happened here, after which the stock unleashed into a fresh leg of upside, right? So at this point of time, we are not concerned much with the recent prices. We are more concerned with just plotting our trend lines. So after drawing the maiden trend line, we start cloning the same trend line. I've repeated this many times. How do you clone trend lines on TradingView chart terminal? So this is the TradingView chart terminal. And how you basically clone trend lines in this is you hold down the control button, you select the drawing and you simply drag it. It will automatically get cloned. In case of trend lines, as long as you have the logarithmic chart setting, and this is very important. Whenever you want to analyze a chart, make sure that on all your time frames, you're not using the arithmetic setting for your prices, but the logarithmic, because when the stock was moving, say, in the range of below 100 rupees to now when the stock has moved in the 1000 rupees range, the change of 5% should look similar in both the cases. If you're using an arithmetic scale, the exponential movements will make analysis impossible, especially on longer time frames. So it's very important to make sure you're using logarithmic time frame to begin with. So this is the second trend line that we've drawn. Now we can move to the daily time frame and we'll again start cloning to capture the key peaks and bottoms that we can see on the chart. So one key peak that we can see is this one, and the another that we can see is, say, the most recent one. Now in the chart of VBL, what is very, very obvious is that the price has basically already approached the nearest trend line that is there, the resistance trend line. Okay, the underlying momentum is extremely strong here, and it seems to be the price of VBL seems to be going higher and higher at a faster and faster pace. Okay, so much so that it is going into a region where even extended trend lines will not be able to help us anymore. See, stocks like this often create a lot of interest, but analyzing these stocks become a lot more difficult, right? So after we've drawn the trend lines, we need to look at other indicators, at other tools to draw analysis. So now we've come down to the 75-minute time frame. There are no more trend lines to be drawn. First thing first, in a stock like VBL, you need to determine not whether you should buy right now, but when is the good time to buy. Okay, and if the answer to that question is right now, then you have the answer. But when you approach the analysis of a fast moving stock like VBL with this thought in mind, whether I should buy or not, you are entering the analysis with a bias already. Okay, at any point of time, keeping biases out of your analysis procedure is very important. So what are the things that we are going to look for on the 75-minute time frame? Why the 75-minute time frame? Because like I said, it is the primary decision making time frame of ours. So we'll do the analysis. So we've already drawn the trend line using the weekly, the daily and the 75-minute time frame. Drawing trend line is the very first step of analyzing any stock. Okay. The second stock is to take your decision time frame. For me, it is a 75-minute time frame, and do the analysis. Then we will look at the daily and the 15-minute time frame to corroborate that analysis. What are the things that we look at on the 75-minute time frame? First, RSI. Second, volume. Third, moving averages. Fourth, it can be anything else. Okay. So let's start with the RSI. What is the RSI telling us on this 75-minute time frame? Okay. So I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of questions that, there are so many lines. What do these lines mean? And so on and so forth. So let me tell you that. Give me a moment. Let me just quickly open the moderation panel and let's see. Now I just want to do a quality check. Just make sure that, okay, sound and everything is working fine. Yes, it is. Okay. So if you have questions about, what is drawn on the chart, what are these blue, green, yellow lines? These lines are basically the moving average of this time frame. The other set of lines that you're seeing, that is this faded and thicker lines, these are moving averages of one time frame higher. Down, you're seeing the RSI. The orange RSI that you're seeing is the RSI of the 75-minute time frame. The light blue RSI that you're seeing is the RSI of the 15-minute time frame. And the yellow RSI, the faded yellow RSI that you're seeing is the RSI of the daily time frame. Okay. This basically helps me make sure that my analysis is never in a silo. It takes into consideration all time frames. Okay. Now, on this chart of VBL, first observation will come on the 75-minute time frame RSI. First thing first, we clearly on first sight, we can see there is a RSI negative divergence, which means now is definitely not a good point. Okay. The question that we were trying to answer was, when is a good time to enter VBL? First answer is not now. Second question should be then when. Okay. So for then when, we have to do a lot of analysis in addition to that. So, firstly, we saw 75-minute time frame. We saw an RSI negative divergence on the 75-minute time frame. The question is, what does this stock do when there is a RSI negative divergence on the 75-minute time frame? So, for that, we will go back and we will find other points of time when the stock has given a RSI negative divergence on the chart. See, now I'm a technical analyst, okay, hardcore technical analyst. So when I'm analyzing any stock in my watch list, and I maintain a very limited watch list, okay, like 250 stocks at max, I have reduced that to further 210 stocks only. So out of these 210 stocks, when I'm analyzing a chart, if I see negative divergences or positive divergences, I make sure to manually mark them with a white line. I also have an underlying indicator analysis or indicator study applied, which does automatic marking, but I also like to mark my own divergences manually. Okay. So the reason why is because here we can see, first of all, see, whenever you make an observation, okay, you cannot go with the textbook, interpretation of that. You have to interpret that observation in the context of the stock. So if you're talking about VBL and we've made an observation of negative divergence right now, it is wrong for you to assume that the stock's rally is over or the stock is going to go into correction. We need to go back and look for similar situation that the stock was in the past, and we need to see what the stock did back then. Because understand this, the biggest traders in a stock usually don't change. Okay. People have a tendency to stick to their counters, which means their personality gets embedded in the way the price acts. That is the price action. So if you want to know what a person is going to do in a situation, the best thing to know is what the person did when they were in a similar situation in the past. Similarly for stocks, if you're making an observation or a situation that the stock is in right now, we need to go back and find a similar situation where the stock found itself in the past. So here the observation is RSI negative divergence. In the past, we need to look for another situation where the price was near its lifetime high and there was a strong RSI negative divergence. Let's see. So we can see that here on the 23rd of September 22, which is almost exactly a year ago, there was a strong negative divergence, very similar to the negative divergence that we are seeing in the price right now. Another similarity was that price, or the price was very close to the terminal trend line, that is the last trend line which was visible on the charts back then. Remember, these three trend lines that you're seeing have been created with the help of peaks which have formed after that point in time. Okay, so what this basically tells us that sure, the stock may be going into another leg of rally, but we want to optimize our entry to catch prices as low as possible. If we want to do that, entering now may not be in our best interest. So what did the stock do when there was a negative divergence on the 75-minute time frame, where the first peak of RSI was almost at 80 and the second peak was somewhere around 66? Very similar situations. Terminal trend line resistance. What does the volume look like in both situations? Here I can see that, okay, the volume indication had slightly changed after the second peak or the lower peak of the RSI, that is, the selling volume had increased, and that trend was seen for quite a while, right? And let's go to the recent price action, and we can see here that again we can see increasing volume on selling days quite often again on the price. See, green candles are smaller, which means that whenever the price closed higher, the volume was not as high, and the red candles on this is the volume indicator, right? Bigger red means when the price was lower, the volume was higher, which means the selling pressure was higher. Okay, so again, similar situation. So let's go back and we want to compare these two, and then we'll take we'll take indication from this part. This analysis also needs to be done on the 15-minute time frame and daily time frame. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark this section, okay, so that it becomes easier for me. I know it is the September of 22 or October of 22, but trust me, when you go down to the 15-minute time frame and try to find that part, becomes a lot more difficult. Okay, so that being said, let's zoom into this bit of chart and see what happens. So first of all, I have seen this tendency that when a strong negative divergence forms, prices have a tendency, or rather the RSI of that underlying stock has a tendency to revisit the level of 30. Now, even in the process of revisiting the level of 30, you cannot go by textbook. You need to see what is the tendency of the stock. Some stocks have a tendency of piercing the 30 level. Some stocks have the tendency of exactly touching the 30 level. Some stocks have the tendency of barely touching the 30 level and bouncing right, like from say 32, 33 or something, right? And VBL is a stock, because the underlying trend is so strong, it has a tendency of bouncing barely from the level of 30. That is what we are seeing here. And see, in the interest of time, I am taking only one example here. When you want to do a thorough analysis, it makes sense to take multiple examples, multiple similar situations in the past. Okay, so what we see here, what happened on VBL was, from the peak price, the price fell 15% in a matter of 24 days. Okay, and remember, all this analysis that I'm showing you is not for intraday trading or long-term investment. It is only and only from swing trading perspective. If you want to know what is swing trading is the participation in market where you buy stocks and hold them for a period of more than 2 days to anything less than 365. In my practice, I prefer to hold stocks for a period of 2 weeks to anywhere between 6 months for a return profile of 5% to 40% and more. Okay. Now, in VBL, I really like swing trading, because if you see closer, what I can see is the stock has a tendency to fall 10 to 15% in like a month and then rally around 45% in a period of 2 months. This is just one example, but if you go back, you will see this same pattern repeating over and over and over again. Okay, this is the reason why I'm discussing the swing trading setup in VBL, because even though there is no swing trading opportunity right now, if you are a technical analyst or if you are a swing trader, working with a technical analyst or a SEBI registered research analyst can give you the proper exposure that you need in this stock to play repeatedly and make consistent income from that. Obviously, there are lots of caveats in this. Don't take that at word to word basis, because You have to look for, if you know the concept of impulse waves, when the impulse wave is unfolding, when a primary correction is starting, you have to know all those things, and an analyst can only tell you all those things. Okay. So coming back to our discussion. So we saw that a 15% correction came here. During the correction, what was the stock's interaction with the different moving averages? So we can see that in the past, right, before the correction happened, the stock was respecting this blue line like magic. Okay, so what is this blue line? This blue line is a 200 EMA of the 75-minute time frame. Remember, at the beginning of this call, I told you something about structure. You need to have a structure for everything. Okay. My moving averages that you're seeing on the chart are always color coded across all time frames. So if it's a yellow squiggly line, I know it is the 50 EMA. If it's green, I know it's 100. If it's blue, I know it's 200. Okay. If it's thick and transparent, I know it's the EMA of that period of one time frame higher. And that's all I need to know. Okay. I don't need to constantly click and check. Initially, it was really hard for me because you need to memorize all these color codes. That only and only comes with practice. Okay, if you're not seeing your charts every day, if you're not doing this on a daily basis, you're not going to be able to develop that kind of intuitive analysis or analytical sense. It only comes with practice. And to add one more point to that, for retail traders who have especially 9 to 5ers, it is in your best interest to not spread yourself too thin and to work with a professional research analyst. If you think what I'm sharing here makes sense for you and you're looking for more guidance in the stock market, the best way to connect with me is by joining my Telegram channel. I'm dropping the link in the comments right now for you to just click and join it. And then from there, we can take the conversation forward. Okay. So what are we seeing here? Coming back to the charts. Firstly, the price took beautiful support at the 200 EMA on the 75-minute time frame. Okay, but look at this. When the price was at the level of 522, okay, RSI touched the level of 80. When the price here at this point of time, when the price was at 584, so the price has gone up from 518 to 585. Price has made a higher high, but the RSI has made a lower high of 65. Okay, so we have a negative divergence there. And what happens after that? After that, once more, the price takes beautiful support at the 200 EMA, bounces back, almost retests the previous high, comes down, and then for the first time in a very long time, breaches the 200 EMA. And then what? It continues to fall. So for somebody who's an analyst or somebody who has an active position, the best time to exit the stock position would be somewhere over here. Then there is a trendline resistance at 586 and there is clearly a negative divergence in the stock. Now, if somebody has an active position right now, what do we see on the chart? Okay, what do we see on the chart? We see that at the level of 933, there was a strong negative divergence which developed. And then what happened? The stock is still in a sideways consolidation. The stock hasn't started falling down significantly, but the negative divergence is a signal to us that some weakness may be forming. Why? Because the price has also taken a resistance twice at the same trend line. And the stock has also shown a very strong rally since a long time. See, no matter how strong the underlying momentum in a stock is, no matter how athletic a person is, everybody needs to take a break. Okay, this stock is in for a break right now. All right, so we can expect some correction to come in here. And what would be the level for you to look out for? The first level would be this 200 EMA on the 75-minute time frame. So obviously you're not going to come on the chart every single day and look for it. The smart thing to do is to set an alert. How do you set an alert? In conditions, you select the name of the stock, you select the call it the scenario crossing, okay, and then you select the indicator. In this case, it's the EMA 200. So select it, and then when all do I want the trigger? I want it once per par. So once every 75 minutes, I will get an indication. If the price crosses the 75-minute 200 EMA on the 75-minute time frame. Okay. So when this trigger happens, I will not go and buy the stock. I will come back to my charts and I will do the analysis on the 15-minute, daily and 75-minute time frame to see whether it is a good time or not to purchase. Okay. Another thing you will see, there is an alert already set at the level of 30. So one thing that you need to know about stocks is, when suppose in this situation, okay, where the RSI, if you see very closely, it didn't touch the level of 30, okay, or let's just go back here, it didn't touch the level of 30. It seems like it has turned away from the level of 31.75. But when you have the alert, while the candle is still formulating, there is a point of time when the RSI does touch the level of 30. It may not plot that because it takes the value of closing, but it does give you a trigger, and the trigger is all you need. All right. So we've done this section analysis, and we can see that the price has a tendency to come back to the 100 EMA of the daily time frame, the faded thicker green line on the chart. Let's go one time frame higher to the daily time frame. And what are we seeing here? On the daily time frame also, it becomes very evident that whenever the stock goes into a correctionary phase, it does indeed come back to the 100 EMA to give its, to give an indication that it's a good time to buy. So I have swing trading subscription plans, right? So for my members, I have given them a call. The last time the similar situation was triggered on the chart of VBL. And in the past 6 months, we've taken multiple trades in the same stock of VBL, creating more returns than the stock has given upside. Why? Because we are playing swings. We buy at low, we sell at high. When the stock falls, we stay away from it. And when it's giving a bottom, on the basis of my analysis, I give them the buy signal to re-enter the stock again. Okay. And I'm a SEBI registered analyst. I've got the right licenses, exposures and everything to help my members out. But if you're not somebody who's an analyst or don't have the experience, it's not impossible for you to learn this. It's possible, but it's not as easy as you may think it is, okay? Because the analysis has to be very holistic. So the daily time frame analysis is quite quick. The RSI observation tells us that we are in a very strong bullish range. So there is no reason to believe that the stock is going to go into correction. Like even here, from what we can see, even though there was a negative divergence here, the trend continued to go up strongly. So see, if anybody wants to purchase VBL for a long term, you can do it at any point of time and keep buying if the stock price goes lower by say every 3%. Okay. Now, for swing trading, you can do analysis based on the guidelines that I'm giving you. Now, coming on the 15-minute time frame, we will use the go to date feature to jump back in history. So we want to go 12 months back to September of 22. Let's go there. Okay, here we are. We mark this part on the chart so that we can easily identify where it was. Okay. What are we seeing here? So the RSI on all my time frames is set at 25, not at the 14, because I want to remove as much noise as I can from my charts when I'm analyzing. And in addition to the RSI, I also use an SMA of 2 period to further smoothen the line as much as I can. Okay, so here we saw a negative divergence, and then we saw around 15-20% of correction. Okay, and then we saw an upside of around 47% or 50%, let's round it up, in a matter of 2 months. Fantastic. So suppose right now the situation that we are in looks very similar to this situation, right? This part of the chart. It looks like this is where we are. So if we want to do swing trading for short term, we have only 2 objectives. 1, to reduce our downside. 2, to enter stocks before the rally. In a stock like VBL, which has shown which has a tendency to be a perpetual bull, to be in a perpetual upside trend, the best time to enter on the 75-minute time frame is when the 15-minute time frame is giving you a strong indication. Okay, so if you see here on the 15-minute time frame, the RSI gives a very prominent, very strong positive divergence whenever the stock is going to unleash into a rally. So if you look at this if you look at this right here, okay, the price was at the level of 512 and the RSI was at the level of 21. The price here, okay, when this point was forged, the price, or you can even take this price is at 515, slightly higher. But look at the RSI. The RSI is already gone to 45, okay, very strong positive divergence. And then there is a rally of around 11% in a matter of 6 days. Now, the reason why I don't make my decisions on the basis of 15-minute time frame, but I look at the 15-minute time frame for strong entry points, is that if I trade on the basis of 15-minute time frame, then firstly, my trading frequency will go up. Secondly, I will be entering at weak opportunities also. Okay, let's go back to the 75-minute time frame and analyze that a little bit more. So, this bottom that we saw, from where a small upside of 11% happened in a matter of 1 week, I don't want to participate in that. It's not worth my time and it's not worth my participation. I would rather participate in another opportunity for a bigger gain. Okay. Why would I reject this stock idea right now? Because when the correction in a stock happens, the correction does not happen in one go. It happens in 2 parts. Or in the Elliott wave theory, it's also called the ABC correction. So if you've seen a negative divergence, there are a few things that you need to wait for. First, see how the stock interacts with the level of 30 after the negative divergence has appeared. 2, don't jump in on the very next leg of upside if you want to make bigger, if you want to catch the bigger fish, right? So what happened here? The price did go up. And look at the RSI on the 75-minute time frame. The RSI continued to forge the negative divergence, right? Because from the peak, that is this one, to the peak, that is that one, it is still a higher high, okay? But the price, the RSI is still forming a lower high, which means there is more correction to come. And the correction did come. See, the problem in participating on 15-minute time frame for me is that if I miss this peak, I lose the time, like there's a huge opportunity cost, right? This downside will take only 8% slide to wipe out my entire unrealized profit. I don't want that. Ultimately, what will happen is that I will be participating in the stock for a barely 2 to 3% of gains, which is below my criteria. So when I said that I want to participate in a stock for a gain of minimum 5 to 40%, it does not mean the length of the wave. It means the gain which I can capture. At any point of time, when you're doing swing trading, you will never be able to capture 100% of a trend. If you're able to capture even 1/3 of the trend or the swing, you're very lucky, okay? Or rather, you're very skilled. So that is how I look at things. And if I'm seeing a small upside here, say the upside, I'm seeing a strong resistance from the trend line. And because of the RSI negative divergence, I know that if the price also gives a bounce back, it will most likely not be forming a new high, right? So 15% upside. Now 15% upside and like barely 15% upside, like if I give it a stretch, of that 1/3 is barely 5%. So I don't want to waste my time, energy, and I don't want to keep my capital stuck in this. Right? So this is how you also reject opportunities which may seem very attractive, but you have to make an objective decision. You don't take things on the face value ever when you're doing swing trading, right? So on the 15, let's go back to the 15-minute time frame and continue the analysis. So here we saw that again a positive divergence occurred on, say, the 22nd of October. So what happened at that point of time? On the 18th October, when this happened, what we can see here in prices is the green candles have, like after this point, after this 30 has been visited, we saw there is already a strong positive divergence on the 15-minute time frame. So roll of the 15-minute time frame is over. Now we want the 75-minute time frame to go ahead. Okay. So let's start observing the volumes. What we are seeing on the volumes after this tiny little candle here and this formation, like bare touch of the 30 level on the RSI, is basically that the volumes have started to increase on the green candles, which is a good indication to make an entry in this stock here. Okay, so what would we ideally do? We would ideally start accumulating the stock on the basis of the 15-minute time frame or even the 3-minute time frame. Let's see if I can go that back on this chart. Might be difficult. Okay, so the last available bar is Jan 23. Okay, no problem. Let's look at the recent price action on the 3-minute time frame. Okay, so what I'm seeing on the 3-minute time frame again is that sure, the price is taking some support at this trend line here, repeatedly touching it. Okay, but I can also see multiple instances of negative divergence unfolding on the price chart on the 3-minute time frame itself, which in itself is a indication of weakness, and I am not interested in playing any kind of weakness when it comes to swing trading, right? So yeah, so basically when you want to make an entry, one more analysis that you should do, or rather when you are accumulating a position, then using the 3-minute time frame is a very good idea, because you can basically start adding value every time the RSI, 25 period RSI on the 3-minute starts touching the level of 30, 40, something like that, which basically ensures that you are entering the stock at the time of a squeeze or at the time when the volume is slightly lower. All right. So with this, I am done analyzing how you would go forward looking for setups in the stock of Varun Beverages Limited. Remember, this analysis thoroughly has to be done on every single stock from a historical perspective. And here, in the interest of time, I only showed you the analysis with one example. But when I'm giving a stock idea or recommendation to members, I do this analysis with 3-4 past examples. So people think that doing technical analysis takes 5 minutes because you just have to look at the charts. No, this session has already gone on for nearly 40 minutes. So when I'm looking at a chart, looking for a good entry point or a good setup, I don't only take more than 50 minutes to analyze each one, but I also chase the stock for more than weeks at a time to identify the point of time, the right time to make the position. Okay. Just to give you an example, the stock idea that was given to my clients in VBL on the 3rd of February 23, somewhere near the level of 562, for that one call, I had been observing and chasing the stock, like a hunter for weeks, for months. I was after the stock since I drew this line here, which was the negative divergence in December. So from December to the end of February, I kept chasing it, and when it was time, I was able to give the entry. Remember, the analysis has to go through layers of time frame and has to go through test of different indicators if you want to be consistently successful in your stock picks. All right. So that's all I had to share. Now, before I go, I'll take some time to take a look at your comments. And one more thing. If you want to learn chart analysis from me, from the next week, I'm going to start a course on that. You can join my Telegram channel if you're interested in getting more information about it. Okay. There's a reminder from the HITI moderator. If you like this session, if you found it useful, please don't forget to give a thumbs up to this live session and leave a kind comment. It will make my day. So we have Ankita Ghosh, and she's asking for analysis of Reliance. So Ankita, I think I've seen you before on the live session. So thank you so much for coming back, and let's look at Reliance for you. Okay. So Reliance. There is a negative divergence, but there have also been 2 legs of correction, and it is trying to come out. Okay. So for Reliance, I think this trend line is going to prove to be strong, and there is also the 100 EMA. There is also the 100 EMA support right here, right? And we saw last time also when the stock gave a breakout above the 100 EMA on the 28th of April, it took support at the 100 EMA again, and it unleashed into a strong rally of around 20%. Right? And let's go back into the past and take a look at the time when the 100 EMA was breached. Price came back down, took support. What did it do? Okay. Um, what about here? Here we see the 100 EMA was breached and the price went up, came back for support, and then it gave a pretty strong rally. Okay. Again, there is a negative divergence that was here, but that came a lot later. Okay. And before that activity, there was a negative divergence and there was correction and consolidation and correction. So, two legs of correction and then strong upside. What are we seeing here? We see a negative divergence was formed, one leg of correction, some upside, another leg of correction, support, and I think upside can begin here. So, Ankita, for Reliance, I would recommend that you maintain a stop loss at the level of 2.4%, which is somewhere just below the psychological level of 2400. आप stop loss maintain करिए 2396 का and participate in the stock for an upside of at least 8%. So your stop loss is around say 2.4% and your upside is around say 8% with a target of 2650 and you should be good to go. The reason why I won't give you a much bigger target right now is that Reliance has already rallied significantly from the previous bottom which it had forged, okay, which was on the 21st of March. वहाँ से already 30% rally दे चुका है Reliance. And Reliance की tendency had to give around like 30-40% की rallies and then take like a good healthy correction, which we haven't seen in the stock right now. Okay, but then there is also a chance ki, this may be the beginning of a fresh uptrend. So for now, you play with a target of 8%, and when the target comes close, you check back with me for the fresh analysis. But that's what I would say for Reliance right now. Okay, so we have Dilip Singh Ji. He's asking for analysis on Ambuja Cement. Let's see, Ambuja Cement. Okay. Ambuja Cement, let's see. Ever since we exited, the stock has given a kind of a weird movement. And okay, the underlying trend in Ambuja is definitely strong, and the cluster of trend lines, moving averages, is proving to be pretty good. And if you'll see, we've like my members had good run in Ambuja. There was 16%, 44%, and then 9%. So that's good. There was a strong positive divergence here, which means a strong uptrend has begun. The price in general is in a very good, what I would say, positive range as per the RSI. And Ambuja is a stock which has a certain style of movement, which is pretty evident. Here, this resistance was also breached, which means the stock did form a higher high. Okay. So what I'm guessing, okay, there was a negative divergence, which I think has played out pretty well, right? And in my opinion, okay, this is a within trend positive divergence. We can call it that. So Ambuja does look pretty attractive. Okay, and I do have a green line here, which means this is my target on Ambuja. So for a fresh entry, it looks pretty good. I would keep a stop loss somewhere here, just below this. And see, if you can be a little aggressive, it would be better to keep a bigger stop loss at a level of 414. So 443 is the price, 414 is your stop loss, and your target is around 528. I personally wouldn't participate in the stock idea because the risk to reward ratio is not enough, is it? No, it's not, because the return profile is around 8% and the risk is around 7%, right? Which means it does not meet my criteria of minimum 3 risk to reward. So it's a no-go for me. For you, if you're positive on this stock, you can go with that. Okay, so their 15-minute time frame is adding more color to this analysis. So we don't have to use a stop loss so small. You can also use this bottom because यहाँ से एक नया trend start हुआ है. So if this low gets breached, right, then it's safe to exit the position. So 425 would be your stop loss, okay? So correct that. Change your stop loss to around 4.2% and the target of around 18%. So it's a pretty good setup to pursue. Now, so Rohindas ji has given a very good, okay. So Shailendra ji, thank you so much for your compliment. We have Ashraf ji. Is there any chance for an up move in Bajaj Finance tomorrow? Tomorrow, though I don't know. That's a very Bajaj Finserv. Tomorrow, though I don't know. इतना छोटा पीरियड का कौन बोल सकता है? मुझे तो नहीं लगता. I don't think it has a. See, I don't know about tomorrow, but I wouldn't place my money in Bajaj Finserv and wait for tomorrow because 15-minute time frame is looking weak. And see, I have, okay, so Bajaj Finserv mein yahan pe there is a strong positive divergence, but the problem is the uptrend has already unraveled. So if I wanted to participate in the stock, I would wait for the RSI to come to the level of 50 again on this one. And for the RSI on the big lower time frame, that's 15-minute, I would want it to touch the level of around 30, 32 kind of before I made an entry, okay? At this point of time, I wouldn't hold it. But if you have, say, if you're a swing trader and if you have a position in Bajaj Finserv, then I would suggest ki continue to hold on to it. Maintain a stop loss at the level of around 15, right? And continue to hold for a target of 1607. I would not suggest you to make a fresh entry at this point of time. But yeah, if the price does come down to around 1530, which I expect it will, that would be a good point of time for you to create fresh position. Okay. Moving on. SMC, what? Sorry, Ashraf, what do you mean by SMC for trading? Could you please explain? Osho is asking what platform? Yes, Osho, it is TradingView and it's looking so dark because I look at charts for like 8 hours a day. And if it's not dark, my eyes will get fried. It has happened with me in the past where I literally had a blurry vision for 3 days straight because I had so much fatigue. So all my screens, trading terminals, my charts, everything is on dark setting and a lot of people complain कि कुछ दिख नहीं रहा है. आपको देखने की ज़रूरत भी नहीं है. आप मैं जो बोल रही हूँ, just listen to that. And light setting तो I can't do because literally my eyes will just get fried again. Okay. So Saurav is asking RSI is at. Saurav, can you elaborate that question a little bit more? I don't understand your question. Osho, can I share my view on ITC? Is it good to hold? Of course, it's ITC. ITC is always good to hold. And in fact, FMCG में तो मुझे लग रहा है कि fresh rally आने वाली है. So ITC is definitely good for hold. In fact, you should maintain a stop loss near the level of 441 and target at 500. ITC, I am very bullish on the whole FMCG sector. Venki, PL, Venki's. Okay, I think you're asking about Venki's. Okay. Venki's. Let's see. Wow, this is, oh my god, what a chart. Okay, so a fresh, very fresh uptrend has started and the stock has a tendency of giving massive returns in very short period of time. So it's looking pretty good from a short-term from a long-term perspective, right? So if you want to do a long-term investment, then I think this stock looks really good. See, don't take me on that because I need to look into the fundamentals of the stock, right? But it looks really good. And I will not comment on this more than that because I don't know the stock very well fundamentally, but I'm going to make it a point to do that study today itself. So for more analysis on Venki, Ishak, Please make sure you join my Telegram channel, and let's circle back to this in a couple days. Okay, so we have best agro के लिए एक request. Never analyze this chart. Let's do it. Okay, let's draw the trend line. We can draw the trend line on the daily because it does not have a lot of data as is. It's a relatively new stock. See, this trend line that I just drew is just so great. It interacts with this, it interacts here, it interacts with this, it interacts with this, and now the price has started to go up. And on the daily time frame, clearly there is a massive positive divergence, which means we are looking at a massive upside. In the past 2 times, the stock has interacted with near perfection quality with the resistance trend line. Okay, if you heard about the term rounding bottom, I mean, this is a textbook rounding bottom given once, and it is doing the same thing twice. Okay, look at the volume profile. When the rounding bottom breakout happened, massive volumes. Here again, the rounding breakout volume, the rounding bottom breakout is just happening. So, and there is strong positive support from the 200 EMA. I think this stock looks absolutely fabulous. Okay, but remember, see, I may be saying things which might get you very pumped about a certain stock, but remember, if you want to make money from a stock, just entry and the name of a stock will not do. You need to actively maintain a position, monitor a position, manage a position. If you're not doing these 3 M's, maintain, monitor, and manage, what is going to happen is that even if you have huge unrealized profits, you will not be able to take that money home because you didn't use a healthy stop loss. And healthy stop loss setting is not a joke. You need to work with a research analyst to be able to help you to keep the money that you're you're reaping. Like, you need to reap the profits, otherwise it makes no sense, right? So best agro looks pretty good. Again, I need to look at the fundamentals of the stock before I can give a positive recommendation and the target, and I will do that in the next couple days alongside Venki's. Okay, so Ishak, I know you're requesting for sessions in Hindi, but unfortunately, I am not very comfortable speaking a lot of Hindi in this. I'm sorry, but I studied in English medium schools and I have read a lot of books all my life. So English comes a little bit more naturally to me. I did try doing the sessions in Hindi, but I was very uncomfortable and it was a manual process for me to convert my thoughts in that. So don't worry, just keep listening to the sessions, it'll make sense. What you can do is on YouTube, you can reduce the speed of what I'm saying and then go over the videos at a lower speed, which will help you better in your own understanding. Okay, so Sheil is asking what's my RSI setting. So my RSI on the daily time frame is set at 20 period, on the 75-minute time frame is set at 25, on 15 is set at 25, weekly is set at 14, and the 3 minutes is also set at 25. Now, moving on. So, Saurav, I've already answered that. Nida is asking for, is there a chance of up move in EPL? EPL, okay. Okay, so I do see that a breakout has come out of EPL, and let's see what is the underlying trend looking like. Underlying trend in EPL on the weekly is looking super strong. On the daily is also looking at super strong, and this stock has also just experienced a rounding bottom, has given a breakout and is now taking support, right? So this is like the support zone. The stock has already taken support. So Nida, if you're holding EPL for a long term, continue to do that, because the stock does look like it can continue to move strongly upside with good volumes. My short-term target in the stock for you would be this resistance zone. So 278, which means upside of potentially 30-36%. That being said, it's very crucial you also maintain a stop loss at the level of around say somewhere here, that is 187, 186, 187. So 7 to 8% would be your stop loss and 30 to 35% will be your target. So if you're talking about levels, please note level 187 for stop loss and level 278 for target. Okay. Let's move on. We talked about Nida's query. Did I miss anything? I missed Salish's message on granules. Okay, granules is a bit of a missed train at this point of time because strong volumes but also strong rally behind us. And here there is some resistance coming from the trend line. The RSI is very, very deep into the overbought zone. And see, the stock of granules is a very good momentum trading stock, right? Moves a little bit slow, but gives well-rounded rallies. So what you can do is you can wait for the stock to come back down somewhere near the level of 300. Okay, that's around 10% downside. So try to make a fresh entry there based on the analysis at that point of time, right? Right now, I will not suggest you to make a fresh entry in this stock. Suggestion on lemon tree. Okay. A member of mine once made a 34% gains in like barely less than a month in lemon tree. That was fun. He was not even a subscribed member. He was just in my Telegram group, and he asked about it, and I said it, and he bought it, and like he was very happy. Okay, so again, missed train and momentum exhaustion evident. I would suggest avoid. Moving on. Oh, this has to be deleted. Moving on from lemon tree. Last one, Bhel. Again, missed train. I know the momentum is very strong, but better it's in our interest to wait for the stock to come down all the way, give a bit of a healthy correction before we make a fresh entry. See, Bhel is a stock which has strong mean reversion to the level of 200 EMA on the daily time frame. So I would want it. Bhel is also a very good stock for long-term investment. Okay. So if you want to do like super long-term investment, then keep buying the stock at every dip. But if you want to do swing trading or short-term trading, then the best time to purchase Bhel is when it comes to visit the 200 EMA, okay, on the daily time frame, not any other time frame, daily time frame. See, I see a lot of people talking about EMA support, and my clients also keep forwarding me research from different analysts and broker houses here and there, technical research, and it never makes sense to me that why do people talk about EMAs without mentioning the time frames? If I tell you that a stock is looking positive because it's at a support on EMA 200, and I don't tell you which time frame it is, it makes absolutely no sense, because EMA 200 can be drawn on 3-minute also, it can be drawn on daily also, it can be drawn on monthly also, and all of those things have very different implications. So when you're receiving analysis, look at it objectively. Just because it mentions technical jargons doesn't mean it's high quality research. Okay, quality, when it comes to technicals, quality is everything, because remember that technical analysis is a science to begin with, but it's an art at its core. So if someone's giving you technical research, you have to assess and determine whether the quality of the research is very high and whether you want to associate it with it or not. And when it comes to technicals, see, on my YouTube channel, I've already shared my methodologies very openly. But even if you deploy them exactly the way I do, you may still not find success, because these methodologies or these observations that I make, they are my own and they suit me well, depending, basis my personality and my way of working, my thought processes. Even if you try to replicate that, it may not work with you. What will work with you is that you use it as a starting point, and then formulate your own working style. Okay, this is the reason why I'm launching my own advanced technical analysis course, which is due to start from next week. It will be once a week class on Sundays. If you want more information about it, I'm dropping my Telegram channel link, which is the best way to connect with me, and we'll take it from there. Okay, let's go back to answering some more comments before we call the session a wrap. Okay, Ambuja Cement. Okay, Praful is asking for analysis of Tata Motors. Fresh entry not recommended, strong exhaustion in trend, and if you have existing position, you should have technically exited by now. But if you've recently, say after the August 14th, if you've created a position, then please maintain a stop loss at the level of 615 and play for a target of 630 and no more. Yashpal Ji is asking for analysis of HLE glass. Kafi time baad aaya HLE glass query. Let's see if it's gone into a rally. It has not, and the 75-minute time frame is looking promising. Okay, so what do we have here? 5%, you can maintain a stop loss of around 5%. So 563 ke stop loss ke saath, actually no, I see a negative divergence. So see, there will be a small upside, maybe 9-10%. I see strong resistance around 650. It's not worth participating because the risk reward ratio is barely 2. And if you want to succeed in swing trading, trust me, you need to maintain a minimum risk reward of 3. If you have an active position, then please maintain your stop loss at the level of 566. But if that is triggered, I would suggest you exit pronto, because the stock has a possibility of falling as far as 470. Okay. TCS from current price, where it can move in next 30 days. Tuhin Chakraborty, TCS. Strong resistance, exhaustion. I think next 30 days do not look very overly promising. So if you have, I'm guessing if you're asking with a time limit on it, then you clearly have an active position in this. The trend is definitely still quite strong, and I see the stock did give like a small correction here already and took support at the drawn trend line. So you can maintain a stop loss. You'll have to go with a slightly bigger stop loss because the momentum has been pretty upcharged. So 3480 would be your stop loss. Okay, 3480 means I really hope you don't have an FNO position, because 3480 is almost 2.25%, which is like a huge stop loss for FNO. That's why I don't trade FNO. But with that stop loss, I think you could hold the position for a good 7-8% kind of upside. 12% is also possible, but it may be a little bit of a stretch, right? So if you have an active position, maintain the stop loss that I have mentioned and hold it for an upside of around 3816. All right, I think I'm a little exhausted, so we have extremely exceeded the time of the session, so I'm going to call it an end for the day. I will see you again on my YouTube channel on Friday. I am going to post the video of market outlook, which is tomorrow, where I will be doing a detailed analysis of Nifty's, Bank Nifty's and intersector analysis chart, where I give you an idea of not just directional movement of Nifty and Bank Nifty, but I also tell you which sectors are expected to come fresh into momentum and get out of momentum. And tomorrow's analysis that I'm going to post is going to be extremely important, because Nifty has just breached the lifetime high, and whether the rally is going to continue or stop from there, I'm going to cover in tomorrow's I'm going to cover my analysis or my interpretation of price action in tomorrow's video. So please be sure to follow my YouTube channel. I'm going to drop the link of the YouTube channel as well in the chat. With that, thank you so much for joining this session. I really appreciate you giving me your time. I will see you again next week in the retail trader session on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Do come back to watch that, and please do join my Telegram channel so I can share more of my knowledge and services with you. Thank you so much for joining. Namaste.